cat just decided to jump up on my desk, so come on. But we got some stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff, and we'll cover most of this on the Juice Loose podcast, but I just wanted to give my take on the Nintendo Partners Direct. How'd that feel? And PS5 showcase, talk about, I've been selling some Gamecube games, and talk about the 3D All-Stars collection a little bit, and then I want to, the main topic is going to be, did Sony and Xbox swap next-gen Strats? So I got some stuff to say on that, and I think it'll be interesting. So it's definitely not going to be 2 hours like the last one, but let's see. Oh, your answer to the title. Yeah, I feel like Sony's getting attacked more about the going against what they said, because it is. I'll talk about it later. I don't want to get into it right now. So, first off, I've been selling my GameCube collection. Currently, I sold Eternal Darkness to T. I sold Sunshine. Then I sold Melee. And then, believe it or not, I sold Metroid Prime 1 and 2. I sold my Ocarina of Time pre-order bonus disc for the Wind Waker. I sold Soul Calibur 2, and I also sold the Wind Waker. And I was going to total that up. Let me do that real quick. I've had good success so far. So I made basically $455 selling those games, and I never thought I would, but I was thinking about it. I plugged in the old GameCube, and I tried to make sure Metroid Prime 1 and 2 worked, and Soul Calibur. So I look at it this way: Eternal Darkness, I had no issues selling that game. I was never going to play it again. The next one, Sunshine, I told you what I was going to do. Even though I'll talk about it in a second, this is still in the plastic. Probably not going to end up keeping it, but I thought I'd swap the game for the Switch version, and then I get 64 in Galaxy. I'm still a little torn on if I'm going to keep it or not. And then Metroid Prime 1 and 2, I have the trilogy on Wii U through the eShop. It's the Wii version. I have my Wii U hooked up right now, Sensor Bar hooked up. I've been playing Galaxy 2, so I have, and then going back to play with the GameCube controller, Metroid Prime 1 and 2. I know if Clocked is watching this, he doesn't like hearing this. It's such a drop, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a step back, going from Wii Remote and Nunchuck to GameCube controls for Prime, that it's like, I know in hindsight, is 2020, whatever that expression. When I played Prime 1 and 2, I thoroughly enjoyed them. I always felt a little weird about, having to strafe with hold down the left trigger and hold down the right trigger to aim, so you could aim at individual targets. But once you got used to it, you got used to it. But then going to Wii Remote and Nunchuck, and I looked on my Wii U, I put 13 hours into Metroid Prime on the trilogy. I didn't start the second game, and I already beat the third game on Wii. So, but just those 13 hours affected me to the point where I just can't go back. I'm sure I could get used to it over time, but I was playing a boss on Metroid Prime 2, and you auto-target, and it would auto-target his eyeball, which didn't do any damage. You had hit him in the back. And then I tried to do aiming while standing still, and he kept hitting me. And of course, I'm trying to turn with the right analog stick, so I kept switching weapons. And I'm just like, this is, I wouldn't say it's unplayable, but I I never want to play this way again. Like, so that really sold me on selling the two games. I got $130 for the two of those games together, so 65 a piece. And I can't see myself ever going back. And I made the comparison to like playing 64 with the D-pad. The difference is you started 64 with the analog stick, and then the DS version, it's the D-pad. With Metroid Prime, you started with what I would call very limiting control setup, which, like I said, I got used to it, played the games, enjoyed them, had no issues. And then you experience a better way. It'd be like playing Mario 64 with the D-pad first, and then they come out with the analog stick version, and it's the Mario 64 we know, and it'd be like, I wonder how many people would say, nope, I prefer the D-pad, you know. It's even a bigger jump. For me, Wii Remote Nunchuck for a first person, not so much Call of Duty, just wasn't the faster paced stuff, but for Metroid Prime, like, it's just perfection for me. You can't beat that control setup. It's absolute unbeatable. So anyway, so I have the games. It's not like I'll never be able to play them again. And then Melee, I got Smash Ultimate and Smash for Wii U and 3DS. Like, I'm never going to play Melee again. And I went back and played it and absolutely thought it was trash. I didn't like the Marth's character. Marth's moveset was a little bit different. Just, it's still Smash, but it's missing all the extra layers of cool things. It's, just, I never need to play it again. Then Wind Waker. I got Wind Waker HD. That's another thing I want to talk about a little bit, and I have a background here. We'll talk about the Direct, but I also want to get into a thing when it comes to beautiful games, and then seeing beautiful games at either higher resolution or on like a higher quality monitor and stuff, and it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong. It doesn't make the game ugly on another system. It's just, if you can experience it in a better light, I just don't see any harm in that. Anyway, I'll get into that later. So yeah, my GameCube collection's pretty much now all I have left. I have Star Wars, Rogue Leader 2, whatever, Rogue Squadron. Rogue Leader, I think it's Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader. I have Monkey Ball 2. I have some sports games. I have Tiger Woods. I have NASCAR, Madden, NFL 2K3, Burnout 2. Not a whole lot. At this point, I'm thinking I might as well just sell the GameCube. I don't have a component cables for it anymore, and just get rid of the rest of my collection. At this point, the games I have are games I definitely don't want to play. So anyway, I'm not feeling any regret about it. It's just, yeah, someday I might think, wow, why'd I get rid of those when fucking some of these games are $200 a piece or something. But honestly, it's been a tough year. I had to buy a new furnace, new air conditioner for the house, and then I also upgraded my home theaters, and then had some hours cut for a while at work. So I was just like, you know what, I could use the extra money, and values of GameCube games is high right now, so I did it, and there's no looking back now. So the other thing I want to talk about real quick is the 3D All-Stars. As you can see, I think you can tell it's still in the plastic. I picked up 2 copies at Walmart for $49.95, so it was $105 after tax. And then I already sold 1 copy for $65, so I made just over $12 on that. And I was like, well, if I take that $12 profit I just made and subtract it from this $52 game, I could keep the game, and it had literally cost me $40, which is what I think is a good price for this collection. Do I keep it? Yeah, I got a Wavebird too. I was thinking of listing it for $40 because it's in really good. I just cleaned it with alcohol, and it's perfectly functioning. The camera stick still feels new. It still has all the texture. But yeah, if you're interested, let me know. But anyway, do I keep this and have a copy of Sunshine still for $40? Because realistically, I feel like this is a $40 package right here. not because of the value of the GameCube disc, but if you look at Mario 64 on the Wii U eShop, that's $10. Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii U eShop is $20, so that's $30. Maybe Sunshine's a $15 game because they did put more work into that. So for me, it's $45. Just sell it at $40, Nintendo. If this is what we're getting, sell it at $40. And having it up close, looking at it, I know people were giving me shit about talking about the cover art. This is this is just ugly looking cover art. I could have thrown this together with my limited skills on Paint. The Paint software, it used to be Paint.net. Now it's official. What's it called? Paint.net is what it's called through the Windows Store. Like, this shit is just no effort. This took no time for somebody to put these 3 images together and make a logo. It doesn't even say the 35th anniversary. And then we find out they're emulated. And then I find out through Digital Foundry that Sunshine can be ran at 60 frames per second on the Wii using Homebrew and like unlocking the frame rate. And the Wii runs Sunshine at 60 frames per second. I don't know if it's locked. And it's like, if the Wii could do it with a modder, and obviously it doesn't have improved visuals or anything, but then why the hell can't Nintendo get it done? And then I hear people making excuses. Well, turns out the game only started development in March or April. March or April? This was rumored before that, so does that mean the rumor people were wrong? It just got lucky? Or they heard about it before it was developed? Or did this actually take more than 6 months? So it's like the people who are hyping it up, now they're trying, I know a couple I've seen, trying to defend it by saying, well, it's only 6 months. Then that makes sense. That was a quick turnaround for these games. That's why Galaxy 2 isn't in there, stuff like that. And it's like, why are you making excuses? Like T said, wouldn't you be happier if Galaxy 2 was in here with more games? Would you be mad at more games? Would you be mad at Mario 64 in widescreen at 60 frames per second? Sunshine at 60 frames per second? Would you be mad at that? Like, it didn't happen. Because I don't care if they were only given 6 months. It didn't happen because that would have took more work. That would have been more effort. And it turns out parts of Galaxy are actually ported natively. God damn it, cat, get. But the look at that carrot. A lot of the game runs off emulation. It's like, how is that even possible? And we already know Galaxy was already ported or made in HD on the NVIDIA Shield, so it was already there with standard controls. And it's like, oh, you cleaned up the HUD on Sunshine and 64, and Sunshine looks obviously better than the GameCube version. There's no question about it. Galaxy looks amazing. Mario 64 looks cleaner for sure. But are you against Galaxy 2? Are you against more being done? And if they only had 6 months, then why did they plan so late to have Mario's 35th anniversary? Why were they waiting, or why did it take them so long to come up with it? Why didn't they have a plan? What else was coming out this year that people keep saying, well, COVID delayed everything? What else was coming out that got pushed? Did they? Because I thought this game had been done for a while and they were just holding it to try to space out the releases and to be closer to the actual 35th anniversary date. That's what I assumed. But then you got people reporting that it was a 6-month development cycle. So either way, I'm torn. I'm going through 100% in all the 3D Mario games. If I end up keeping this for $40, I guess I'd probably try to go through Sunshine and maybe just finish all, so I can say I've 100%ed all the 3D Mario games. That means more to me than keeping old GameCube games. Actually saying that accomplishment that I did myself. White Knight Defense Force is strong for 3D All-Stars. Yeah, it is. And it's selling out. I was at Best Buy. I canceled my pre-order because they wouldn't match Walmart's price because they don't advertise the price. So I canceled it. Well, there's people in there looking for it, and he's like, yeah, he's like, we were told to tell people not to expect another shipment. So if that's true, I looked right now though, and all 3D All Stars is going for no more than $60 if you look at completed listings. I seen one that went for 40, a couple that went for 45, 50, and then one that went for 60. So right now is not the time to sell. I'm going to hold off before opening this to see if this game starts getting 80 plus. Then I'm going to be like, fuck it, it's gone, you know. And if I could make $30, sorry, my cat's making noise. If I could make $30 off this one and 12, so that's $42 off Nintendo, I'll gladly do it. So, but, and then I think Clock that said he's listening. Just something I want to talk about a little bit, because I feel like I get a little bit of shit for being the guy who's talks about, like, you know, when a game looks good and then saying, man, it looks really good on my PC at 1440p, or it looks really good on my 4K OLED. And here's an example, Sunshine. I'd be shocked if anybody said, oh, I prefer the original Sunshine to the collection. Let's look at the comparisons. Like, I would literally be shocked. Here's I was looking up that 60 frames per second. If somebody's like, yeah, you know what, I prefer the GameCube to the Switch visuals. I would literally be shocked if somebody, I don't want one, I want a new one. I don't like Game Explain's comparisons.
This year and
I don't like how they do it, but like they did nothing to alter how Sunshine looked, like as far as like being a purist. Let me see how this looks on my screen. All right, looks all right. Like that. Oh. They didn't change the art style. It looks just like Sunshine. You know, it just looks so much cleaner. The HUD, like, that's just blurry. You know, maybe they didn't have a good way to capture GameCube. The cutscenes aren't much better. But this isn't a Breath of the Wild situation, like where I was messing with user changing the colors and stuff. And you're like, well, that don't look like Breath of the Wild anymore. This looks 100% like Sunshine. And I would be, like I said, absolutely shocked to the point of I wouldn't believe you if you told me you preferred the GameCube, how the GameCube looks to Sunshine. At that point, I just wouldn't believe you. I don't care how, if you tried to convince, I just wouldn't believe you at that point. I feel like you'd be lying to yourself if you felt the GameCube version looked better and you preferred it. Now, maybe on a CRT TV, the GameCube version looks fine, but it's like, if you got an HD TV, this is just, it's factual, way better looking. Wind Waker is the other one. You see, yeah, some of the bloom lighting's a little extreme, but it's like, yeah, there's nothing special about Sunshine's art design. For sure, it doesn't. That's really not its selling point. It was more at the time, just the actual visuals were really impressive, not so much the art style. But like, if somebody told me that they thought they prefer GameCube Wind Waker to the Wii U or the HD version, I'd be like, okay. I mean, it's not terrible. On Wind Waker's still a good-looking game on GameCube. But if you said that it's actually preferred to this, I don't know. I don't think I'd believe you. Maybe you don't like a little bit of the bloom lighting, but other than that, this is another one. It stays very true. I get it when they change up something to a point where it's like not recognizable anymore. But so we all have. What do you mean one is stretched? I mean, any like GameCube game, if you play on a widescreen TV, is going to be stretched. Just native 16:9 on Sunshine alone, it makes it the improvement. But so what I want to say is, if you got Wind Waker HD in your collection, Twilight Princess HD, Super Mario Sunshine on the 3D collection, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, to me, that's the same. Link look fatter than a bitch on GameCube. Like, to me, that's the same conversation as saying that Ori looks even more amazing in 4K. Like, it's the same. For me, it's just the same mindset. I don't say it saying that it looks like trash if you're not in 4K. Like, I just, maybe if I come across that way. But Ori 2 got announced for the Switch, and it looks decent. I mean, the frame rate's very impressive. Seems to be very consistent with only a few minor dips, which is better than Xbox One at launch. It's a decent looking game on Switch, no doubt about it. But seeing that like in full, I would say for me it was 1440p, but seeing it basically in higher resolution just brings out the art style even more. Like, I don't know if this is actually captured from the game. It might be. I think it is, actually. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I take some heat for saying stuff like that. To me, it's just, it's not meant to be a negative. It's like playing Resident Evil 2 on the PS4. When I got my 4K OLED TV, I was like, I didn't even think about HDR. I wasn't even considering that as a reason to get a 4K TV whatsoever. And then I start playing Resident Evil 2. Did I say 4 earlier? I meant 2 if I didn't. And then all of a sudden the light sources and stuff are just like super bright and just makes it look that much more realistic and atmospheric. And then I went back, turned off the HDR to record some video for the PlayStation, and it just looks dull and dim. And I'm like, holy shit, like, this blows me away. And I made a video about HDR because people were giving me shit. Oh, HDR, does it make the game any better? Does it make the game more fun? And I'm like, why does it have to make the game more fun for it to look even more amazing? Like, HDR doesn't make Ori more fun, but when you see that his glowing, how much that his glow like stands out against the environments with the HDR on, it's just like, wow, that looks, even on the Xbox One S, which doesn't have the highest resolution, the backgrounds and stuff don't look amazing. I'm just like, damn, like that his glow now that I barely even acknowledge. I knew he was a glowing creature, but it just jumped out at me. I was like, holy shit, like, that looks so cool. That's such a cool effect. So I'm so excited for HDR moving forward. It once you see it, it's just so cool. So I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes like I'm afraid to say stuff at some point sometimes because of some of the reactions to saying stuff like that. But I don't know, man. If you're gonna play a game with beautiful art style, it's like, and you have the option to play it, let's say you have an Xbox One X, it's like, there's nothing wrong with saying that is definitely the best way to play the game. Now, the Switch in portable mode, I guarantee you looks absolutely fantastic. I bet you Ori 2 in portable mode, in handheld, I guess, to your eyes, looks as good as Ori in 4K on the Xbox One X. So, I mean, if you're a big portable handheld guy or girl, that's definitely a selling point. I have trouble, off topic, hitting the buttons on the Joy-Cons in handheld mode because that right analog stick's right there, and it's right in. There's some advanced, very chaotic boss fights where you got to do maneuvers and you got to be jumping and you got to be attacking, and just, I can't imagine trying to play Ori and the Will of the Wisps on the Joy-Cons in handheld mode. To me, that would be like a handicap. That would be like the hardest way to play it, because I was trying to play Rocket League, and I got almost 1,200 hours in the game, 700, almost 800 on PC, 430 on Switch, almost all entirely with the Pro Controller. I actually turned it on after the update, just the hell of it, played a few games in portable mode, and I felt like a rookie. Like I couldn't even do a double jump and hit the ball. Like, just the location of the buttons, the analog stick in the way of the jump button, I was just struggling. So anyway, that's a little off topic. I already have this version, so I'm going to go. I think people are coming from a perspective, if I already have this version, I'm not going to go out of my way to get a prettier version just because it's pretty. Well, if you already have the game, well, what system do you have it on, though? Like, if you have it on Xbox One S and you get a Series X, you don't have to rebuy the game. So it would be like a situation where, I'm trying to think of a situation, maybe that's why you didn't buy, I don't think you bought Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I made that point where I kind of called people hypocrites for calling me a graphics horror, but buying Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. You bought it because, well, first and foremost, people just want to play games on the Switch. A lot of people, that's the only reason. The other point, because it looks so much better. Like, maybe you wanted to replay it and you saw that they're coming out with this version and you could play it with much improved visuals and the character models look fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I get that too. I mean, I played the inferior version of Ori and the Will of the Wisp on the Xbox One S for the majority. And it was inferior because the frame rate was absolute trash for the first 5 hours before I said, you know what, I'm going to wait till they patch it. But if you get a Series X, if you're an Xbox guy, and it's, I'm assuming, be a free upgrade, they kind of made it sound like it's going to be a special edition, though. I don't know. If it's just a free upgrade, now you're playing at 4K, 120 frames per second. If you have the TV or monitor that supports that, that's a nice free upgrade. That's, to me, is a reason to replay the game sooner than later. But as far as, I agree with, I didn't buy Link's Awakening. I didn't buy Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Any of the Wii U ports, even if they looked better, which they really didn't look that much better. I really usually don't rebuy a game just because it looks better. Wind Waker HD, obviously, Wii U was dry. And Twilight Princess, same thing. I regretted Twilight Princess HD. It looks better, obviously, but just didn't enjoy my second playthrough of that game. But anyway, so it's just like, I see nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with, I'm complaining about Control not getting the free upgrade. It's not like I'm going to sit there and play Control again just because it has ray tracing now. Someday, I'll probably want to replay it, and it'd be nice to have that, but it's more of the principle. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. If some person don't like a art style of a game, and you do that, that's definitely a different. That's definitely a different conversation. I don't think Astral Chain has a very appealing art style, and technically speaking, there's a few really good looking areas, like the opening on the motorcycle, and then the cutscenes involving the guy with the screen on his face, like that. He's the enemy or a boss, and then he kind of becomes an ally. Shit looked amazing. All the enemy designs are all top notch. Astral Chain, probably the best I've seen in a couple years. The enemy designs are freaking amazing. But just the overall aesthetic of that game doesn't do anything for me. It wouldn't matter if that game was in 4K if nothing else changed about the game. For me, that's not even a resolution thing. That's just the art design choice they went with doesn't really. It didn't really grip me. I only took 16 screenshots of the whole game, and you guys know how much I love to take screenshots. So anyway, let's get into the Nintendo Direct. My thoughts on it are, this is the best Direct we've had since they announced Link's Awakening, Astral Chain, speaking of, and Mario Maker 2. So when was that? I want to say that was like April 2019. Let's see, reveal. I'm going to see when that was. Announcement trailer. There was a Direct. It just says 1 year ago. I know it was more than a year ago because the game's been out over a year. Let's see if I can get the actual date. February 14th, 2019. That was a February Direct? Yeah, that's right. It was the Valentine's Day. So since February 14th, 2019 to September, what was it? 16th, 18th? That span, that's how long it's been since we had a good Nintendo Direct, in my opinion. And like T, it doesn't matter that I'm not interested in Monster Hunter games. I still thought it was a good Direct. Like, trying to find the damn thing 2 days ago. Yeah, Astral Chain clearly looks better than Control. Not even the Astral Plane sections look better in Astral Chain, which is funny. The ones in Control have more variations and way more interesting things to do. So anyway, Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Stories 2, both built using RE Engine, built from the ground up for Switch. No more loading screens in between areas, a full open environment. You can climb, you can run up rocks, you can swing with this like light-based, whatever you call it. What would you call that? Like a whip? Looks great. If you're a Monster Hunter fan, you gotta be pumped. Because the animations just look so fucking good in this. Somebody said in the Discord that Capcom talked about the porting Resident Evil 2 and 3, just something wasn't going well, and that they need to build from the ground up. Whether that's true or not, still impressive looking game from a technical standpoint, from the animation standpoint. Just like Monster Hunter's always been known, always had pretty good animation, especially on 3DS. Hookshot, grapple beam. Now, grapple beam was what I was looking for instead of whip. But just like the amount of moves you can do, like navigating the environment. Then you see like these two bosses fighting in the Monster Hunter Direct afterwards, and it's like, damn, the animations are just ridiculous. Like, it's impressive. Like right here, you see like an extended look at that. And so good for, Monster Hunter fans. I'm glad, because the 3DS basically built the Monster Hunter name to the level it's at today. And then on PS4, Monster Hunter Worlds was a pretty big success. I think it sold over 10 million worldwide. And then it got a really good expansion. So you get that. You get Monster Hunter Stories, which looked great on the 3DS. Looks good. It looks great on the Switch. I actually really like the character designs. It's a cool style. So you get these two games. We already know about Bravely Default 2 coming. You got Disgaea. You got, what's the other one? Rune? Is it Rune Factory? What's that, number 6? Sniper Elite 4, which is, yeah, there's no loading between areas anymore. It's a full open world kind of, that's gone. That was a handheld limitation that definitely shouldn't have continued. What's that? You got this one, which was shown at the PlayStation event a while back, coming out in March. what's that other one? That number 6 game. Was it Rune? Did I say it already? Was it Rune Factory? Was it Disgaea? I can't remember. I thought it was in this one, but I'm not seeing it. So Sniper Elite 4, that's the newest one. We know Doom Eternal's coming. This just looks like a Knights game. I forget. What was that other one? What's this one? Is this the 6? This looks like a freaking Pokemon Sword and Shield game. I think we obviously knew about the Rune Factory, yeah. Rune Factory 5 coming. And now the best game of 2020 is out on Switch. Right here. And it seems to be a pretty damn impressive port. If you listen to Switch Up, say it's the second best looking game on the Switch according to them. And like I was talking about earlier, I mean, a great art style is a great art style. If you're playing this on the Wii, and it's still a great art style, like Rayman Origins or whatever, Yoshi or Kirby's Epic Yarn, you know, great art styles shine through even at lower resolutions. So, you know, I believe him when he said it's one of the best looking games on the Switch, because it's one of the best looking. It is the best looking 2D game I've ever played. Yeah, Pikmin 3's Deluxe best game of 2020. Did that come out? I can't. No, that's October. So the point of all this is I made a statement, and Stealth, who I don't know who that is, followed me on Twitter. So I've seen people retweeting his tweets. Actually, I might have been following him. I said he was saying just in the last 2 weeks with Hyrule Warriors and now all the games in this Direct, the Switch's library has just got a significant bump in quality. And I said I agree. I said, and now we've seen what good third-party support actually looks like. If you compare, like, yeah, we knew about some of these other games before, but once you add built from the ground up Monster Hunter games and Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and then the the collector's edition, you know, like, to me that's a missing part of the equation that I haven't been seeing. Where's all the 3DS developers? Well, now they're showing themselves. Where's like bigger quality as far as, you know, Ori for me, quality wise? Like, it wasn't a multiplat at the time, but where's games like that are current gen, highly rated games, you know, coming? Yeah, this came well after, but it was a surprise. I think they could have announced this at E3, you know, and then it I don't know what, you know, would have been a few months and then it come out. So for me, this is like the final part of the equation where I could say, yeah, this is good third-party support on the Switch. Is it great? No. Is it amazing? Hell no. Getting all this we shouldn't be like, I know some people aren't, but this shouldn't be like, wow, this is what good third-party support looks like. That's what I felt. It shouldn't even be the case with a system selling so well, with just Nintendo systems in general. Like, why does this have to be the exception? Yeah, I mean, I wish there was more Ori-like games. Xbox actually has quite the diverse library of games in the last few years. You know, it's not all just shooters and racers, but... So what would I actually call amazing, though? Because somebody said that they thought Switch's third-party support's already amazing. Getting all this stuff, the exclusive Monster Hunter games built from the ground up, getting, you know, a surprise announcement for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, all the other, like that Rune Factory and Disgaea's, you know, some of the previous handheld franchises coming. But also the Resident Evil 2 and 3s, the Controls, the Jedi Fallen Orders from, you know, whenever that was, at 2019. Some of those games, the majority of those games, day and date, that to me is amazing third-party support. that's when I would say, wow, this is amazing. Getting the Maddens, getting the 2K, well, we get the 2K basketball, and the golf game, which looks like trash. Getting those games, Doom Eternal, maybe, not 9 months later, whenever it comes out. That's when it's amazing. Right now, finally, I will say this is pretty good third-party support. Looks like 2021. Finally, the end of 2020 to 2021, 4 years into the Switch's life, I would finally say this is good third-party support. So, bravo. And it's just crazy to me that, just getting back to Ori, first of all, they're boasting about how hard they work to get this game hella optimized or whatever, optimized as hell. And I'm like, oh, back in March or February when I bought this game day and date, or release date, launch day, and it ran like shit. This kind of pisses me off that if the Switch can run it at almost a lock 60 and still look, good, I think it's 720p, 900 peak, it probably is a dynamic resolution. If the Switch can run this game at 60 with some drawbacks, downgrades, then why the fuck couldn't my Xbox One S run this game at 1080p lock 60? Like, that game came out, it wasn't ready. And that's just the fact of the matter. So I'm pissed on that because I just figured, man, this is really pushing the Xbox One S to a point where it's just, they're having a lot of trouble running the game. But then you put it on Switch and it runs better than it did on the Xbox One S for months. That tells me there was a lot of room for the Xbox One extra power over the Switch to make up the difference. So I'm a little upset that the game came out in such a state, knowing now that it can run on the Switch. And it wasn't just the Xbox One S was being pushed beyond its limits. So that was kind of a wake-up call. The other side of this is games like Kirby Star Allies, Unraveled 2, running at 30 and not doing anything even close to Ori and the Will of the Wisps. That, to me, just makes Kirby look sad and Unraveled 2 look really fucking sad. So bravo to Moon Studios. I'm glad it's a good port because it's such a great game. If you don't have access to a Xbox or a decent PC, or if you don't really have a gaming PC, buy this damn game. Support this game. It is right there with Super Metroid for me as a Metroidvania style game. It's the best looking 2D, quote unquote 2D, because it has so many layers and a lot of 3D stuff. But 2D, side scrolling game I've ever seen. It's better than, it passes the first game, it passes Hollow Knight, it passes Tropical Freeze. It's just awesome. Yeah, I mean, on Xbox it runs better. I wouldn't say it's flawless. On PC, I actually found that there was, thanks to Robert, there is a frame rate slider, and I put it at 144, so I didn't do any, I didn't have my frame counter on, but it runs pretty smooth on PC, so it just kind of points out some other developers need to step up if Ori 2 can run so damn good on the Switch at 60 and look as good as it does. I watched the direct feed gameplay when the game came out on my monitor here. I haven't watched it on my TV, and it's obviously a lesser visual experience. It still looks good, but some of the lower res backgrounds, and stuff, like even on Xbox One S, it's noticeable at times. There's some weird jaggies and stuff even on Xbox that kind of takes you out of it, and it's like, man, I'd like to see that cleaner. It's kind of like I said before about a lesser TV. You don't know what you're missing until till if you bought a new OLED or something, you're like, wow, I don't know. I've been saying that for a while about Switch owners and Wii U owners that are playing on old ass TVs, and it's like, you don't need a Xbox One X or PS4 Pro to see the benefits. If you hook your Switch up with the right games, not every game's going to look better. Bad looking games are going to look worse. Good looking games are going to blow your mind. So, all right, let's get into Sony's presentation. And overall, I thought it was a good show. Lots of gameplay. Again, with the captured on PS5, other than Final Fantasy 16, everything was captured straight from the PS5, which they continue to do. Xbox, all we've seen so far is Series S footage. Digital Foundry said they've seen Xbox One or Series X direct feed footage, and they can't talk about it. I don't know why. What are they hiding? What are they waiting for? But Miles Morales looked like your typical, like Robert in his reaction, bravo to him for noticing it right away. He's like, yeah, all this stuff looks really cool, but you're really not doing any of this. And it's true. Playing the Spider-Man game, the first game, I can tell you that just about everything happening on that screen was just a few button presses and then watching shit happen. But it's a great looking game. Everything I've seen, why can't I just find the fucking showcase? Everything I've seen in that was like, other than Oddworld, I was like, yeah, that looks like an appropriate visual leap for games, for early generational games. I'm happy with what I'm seeing visually. Like that's a visual jump. I think even Clocked It said that he thought Miles Morales looks stunning. Final Fantasy, I don't know about that. Can't really comment. I don't care about those games much. It's a nice looking game, but it has some cool effects and some of the fantasy looking stuff looks pretty good. But so anyway, Miles Morales, when he's walking on the street, there's lots of ray trace reflections, amazing lighting. I can't wait to see this in HDR. I'll just watch somebody who uploads it in HDR. I don't think I'll ever get it myself. But this looks like what Watch Dogs was supposed to look like when they first showed it. It's just a good looking presentation. Yeah, you're just walking. There's a lot of this in the early parts of Last of Us Part 2. And then, get on to the quote-unquote gameplay, which is mostly watching quick-time events, not a whole lot happening gameplay-wise. But I was just like, yeah, I'm not mad that this is a PS5. I'm not like, oh my god, this doesn't look like a PS5 game. Like this, for an early launch title, this looks really good. I'm sure it'll look even better, like I said, in HDR on a 4K TV. Probably looks phenomenal. But let's see what it says at the end. I don't know if it says it on this one. One of them, it might have been the individual trailer. Yeah, it said PlayStation exclusive. It didn't say PlayStation 5 exclusive. But this was my game of show. The Hogwarts is. I hear it's an RPG. I don't know what the gameplay is going to be. This is all in engine. Like, to me, this is a cinematic. But a lot like this environment, that's just what the environment looks like. They're just using a cinematic camera. And I just hope it's like this world you can get lost in and be a wizard and go to Hogwarts and explore. And I'm looking forward to the possibilities. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what the gameplay is going to be, but I'm pretty excited to find out more. This is a good, it's not CGI like people are saying, but it's cinematics mostly. But you're revealing a game for the first time. You're showing all the different environments. It's a known universe. We've seen the movies. Just showing you, basically all the stuff in the world. Next time, I need to see the gameplay. I'll give them a pass on the first one. Second time, I need to see gameplay. Then we got Call of Duty, which looks stupid. Stupid fucking Fast and the Furious bullshit. Resident Evil 8. Now, this doesn't really... I guess this doesn't scream next-gen visuals to me. After getting all these, Resident Evil 2 and 3 just looking fantastic on the PS4. This doesn't just right away scream next-gen. I'm guessing... I wouldn't be surprised if this is a cross-gen game. I don't know, though. Does it say? Coming 2021 is all it says. But this game looks really cool. This is a 60 frames per second game, by the way. Hogwarts is 60 frames per second. And it looks as good as it does. This is a cool idea. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. Now, they haven't detailed if this can be a free upgrade for current owners of Devil May Cry 5. If it is, that's cool. But nice. You're playing as Virgil. So you're kind of switching. You're playing as the villain from the beginning. And they showcased all the ray tracing and stuff, and it looks cool. They confirm Resi. Are you sure? I'm sure that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it. I wouldn't doubt it, but it didn't. That one didn't scream like that's a next gen leap over Resident Evil 2 and 3 or 7. But once we see more of the game, seems maybe some finer details, maybe a better quality video. This, however, and I think this said it's 60 frames per second. I have to check that. I have to watch the video by itself. I'm pretty sure Digital Foundry said this is a 60 frames per second port or remake. Looking this fucking good at launch. I'm not a big Souls guy. I only played Demon Souls, honestly. Actually, out of everybody. Demon Souls is the only Souls game I ever played. I couldn't... I don't know. I just felt a little wonky to me. I didn't know anything about it. I just tried playing it. One of the things I remember the most is the ragdoll enemies that you just run over and they're like nothing. They're just bouncing around at your feet. But this looks to me like if you showed me this and said this is Xbox Series X, I'd have believed you. It'd be interesting to see if Microsoft can show something that's significantly better looking or technically impressive than this game. And this is a launch game for the PS5, so I kind of want to see what those 2 extra teraflops can do. I don't expect that much of a difference, though, between Series X and PS5. If you look at percentage-wise, it's a smaller gap than PS4 Pro to Xbox One X. And it's even smaller, I believe, than the PS4 to Xbox One. The gap percentage-wise. But so yeah, I thought it was a good showcase. The sizzle reel is actually really impressive. If you just look at the sizzle reel and price, I'm happy with the price. I thought maybe it was going to be higher, but so we'll end with the sizzle reel, and then I'll get into what I mean when I said Sony and Xbox kind of switch strategies, because everybody's talking about Sony lied. They said that generations matter and they want to have games for, your new console. And then they end up revealing that Spider-Man, Miles Morales, which out of all of them, that one really means nothing that it's PS4 because it's like if it's done for launch, then it's been... it could just be an update, an expansion for the PS4. I don't see any problem with Miles Morales on PS4. But Horizon Forbidden West is a weird one. They didn't even show that in this. Except in the sizzle reel, they didn't show it in the thing. That one's a weird one. And then, so now we got a question. Is God of War going to be cross-gen? I guess Astrobot is, which makes sense. But Ratchet and Clank's confirmed. PlayStation 5 exclusive, they said. It's built to take full advantage of the PlayStation 5. It just wouldn't be possible on the PS4 with the way that, the teleporting and stuff. So, I don't care. I'm not mad. Just like I didn't care when people were getting upset that Xbox was saying that they're going to support cross-gen for a while. They don't believe in generations. So I wasn't mad about that. We did have a discussion saying, well, how would this affect and I think Sackboy is also PS4. They're like, how will the cross-gen, will it hold back Xbox Series X games? So my question to anybody who's mad about Spider-Man and Horizon coming to the PS4 is, before you knew that, when you watched this on, hopefully on a high quality device, whether your phone or TV or a nice monitor, were you like, oh, this looks like this is being held, this doesn't look next gen. This looks like Halo Infinite, If you watch this and were impressed, then what do you care if it's coming to PS4? Like, it's obviously, it's not being held back by the PS4. So then is it, well, now I don't have a reason to buy a PS5. Well, again, why are you mad about not having a reason to buy a PS5 if Miles Morales was your only reason? Now you don't have to buy a PS5. Now you can play it on the PS4. Like, what's the issue? I'm confused. You don't have to buy a PS5 now. You don't have to try to find one. You can play this game you're looking forward to on the PS4. Just like I didn't have to buy a Switch to play Breath of the Wild. If I didn't get a Switch pre-order, and I would have bought it for Wii U. I've seen Xbox guys kind of harping on it too. And then I know some Sony guys are a little butthurt because, they can't say that anymore. But the funny thing is, and I was trying to put this in a tweet, and it's just easier to talk about here, is Microsoft, since E3, 2018 or 2019, they've been talking about blurring the lines of generations, where they don't want it to be a line in the sand with generations. So they're going to do cross-gen, smart delivery, forward compatibility. They've been talking about literally no Xbox gamer left behind. They've been saying that for a long time. And then they said that Halo Infinite was not going to be hampered by Xbox One, and it was built. They said it in the was it July or August? They even said this was built to take full advantage of the Xbox Series X. And then you see the Series X, or you see the footage, and you're like, this game doesn't look that good. It's being, so then that added weight to, is it being held back by the Xbox One? Well, the other thing that, I think I really am the only one who mentioned it. All the other games they showed, and let me find my tweet. Let me find it. All the other games they showed Xbox Series X, Windows PC. Series X, Windows PC. Series X PC. Series X, Windows PC. And then I State of Decay, Hellblade 2, and then Halo Infinite says Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and Windows PC. Smart delivery, enhanced for Series X. The other ones didn't say smart delivery. So my point was, Microsoft kind of changed their, they didn't change their tune. They just stealthily, and I say stealth because no one really picked up on it. All these games are coming out. They're not going to be on the Xbox One. So why was all this talk about no Xbox gamer left behind in smart delivery when, other than Halo Infinite, which was supposed to be out this year, there's not one single game that's coming to Xbox One of the ones they've announced. And then meanwhile, Sony's been saying they want a generational divide, and they want games to be, they want a new generation. They want games to take advantage of the new generation so that when you buy a new system, I'm paraphrasing, you have games that are built for that system. So that's what they've been saying, yet they're the ones with all the cross-gen games. If it's true that if God of War turns out to be that way, and you got Spider-Man, you got Horizon, you got Astrobot, you got Sackboy, I think there was maybe one or two more. And it's like, well, why? It's like Sony's doing what Microsoft said they were going to do, And Microsoft's doing what Sony said they were going to do with when it comes to cross-gen, next-gen. It's just weird that, I was going to say it's like Bizarro Land. It's almost like the other Sony reacted to what Microsoft was saying. Well, we better do some cross-gen games because people seem to say Microsoft's doing the right things. And then Xbox saw Sony saying, well, we want games that take advantage of our new system. So, and then they put all their games and they decided to make them Series X only. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, why? It's just, how did this happen? Like, it's just so weird to me that both companies did the exact opposite of what they said. Now, I don't know what Jim Ryan said in Promise, where people are saying he just straight up lied. I don't know exactly what he said. I didn't watch any videos on it yet. But to me, I just think it's weird that as far as the cross-gen stuff, that it's complete. Companies did 180s and did what the other company said they were going to do. So I just think that's kind of weird. But at the same time, what I saw from PS5 games that they've shown so far, even if they're coming to PS4, they don't look to be like they're being held back. We didn't get any Halo Infinite situation where it's like, that's a next-gen game? Like, really? T says he needs confirmation. I don't know what. Maybe it could change. But at the same time, you clearly saw that Halo said smart delivery and Xbox One, and none of the others said either. So I guess there's a chance, but I'm going to call it right now. And if you're willing to make a little wager, I'm gonna say that every game that I just showed, that they've showed, will not be playable on Xbox One. These ones right here. No smart delivery. It does say enhanced for Series X, but this was before they announced the S, so obviously this is going to be on the Series S. You know, I don't see that smart delivery right there. So I don't know. Just a friendly wager. But to me, it's just funny. I'm not mad about either one. I'm not mad about. I mean, these companies say shit all the time. Nintendo made promises with their online service, didn't happen. So discrepancies on what Sony showed on graphics. What do you mean? I haven't seen any of that. I mean, the games looked, to my eyes, my eye test. Rewatched all the trailers individually at 4K. And they all looked really, really impressive. Want it to be true? What part? Like, honestly, I don't care that Xbox was doing cross-gen. I don't care if Sony decides to do it. But for me, I didn't play Breath of the Wild on the Wii U because I was buying a Switch, and I'm like, I'm gonna play it on the Switch. Like, so if Horizon Forbidden West comes as a PS4 next year, and I can get a PS5, I'll just play it on that. Like, I'm not gonna play it on the PS4 when I know I'm getting a PS5. I'll just wait to play it on that. It's just kind of the same situation. But I'm more willing to wait for Forbidden West. I don't have to get it on launch, compared to Breath of the Wild, where I absolutely had to have that game. So it's a little different. But then again, first Halo Infinite was like, if that's how the game's going to look on Series S, then it's going to be hard to deny that it wasn't being held back. But it might not be because it's being held back by Xbox One. It could just be they're having development issues, But be curious, though. Ratchet and Clank, we don't know the release date. That one specifically said exclusive to PlayStation 5. The other ones just said PlayStation. Yeah, the whole coming to PC thing. That one's weird because does it matter at this point? Did they feel like they didn't want people to know, so they won't buy a PS5? That's obviously not coming November 12th to PC. So they don't want, maybe, to me that's weird. The cat's out of the bag if it's just coming to PC at a later date. Don't sit there and deny it. But if they literally have no plans to bring it to PC, and that just got put on there by mistake, then I can understand them clarifying. But if in 6 months this gets announced coming to PC, then it's like, then I have a problem with that for sure. But they own the Demon Souls IP. Bluepoint, I don't think they own Bluepoint, but they only make they only do remakes for Sony, so I don't think they do anything else. So if they end up releasing that on PC, then it's like, why did you correct it? Just live with it and admit it. Like, because you can't put it on PC now without getting a ton of shit. If you actually went out of your way to say that was a mistake, but then you do it, there's no coming back from that. Yeah, I mean, I think Microsoft, I don't think anybody called out Microsoft on all those games they showed that just said Xbox Series X without the smart delivery. No one really called them out because most people don't. From just watching next gen podcasts and reading tweets and stuff, most people don't want cross-gen games. They want them to move on to the next generation. They want to know that their game was being built. Obviously, that's why a lot of people are upset with Sony, because they want to know or think that these games are being built from the ground up for these systems, and justify their $500 purchase. And it's like, well, if you're going to buy a PS5 anyway, and you want to play Horizon, just like I said, like, would you really play it on your PS4 just because you could? And then the other side of the other part of this, which isn't explained, is, will it be a PS4 version that's separate? Two $70 versions? Yeah, I think, like I said, I really don't think people really care about, like, the Xbox One's users right now that aren't planning on getting a Series X for whatever reason, whether they don't feel it's time to get one, there's no launch games calling their attention, maybe they can't afford it, or maybe they're still rocking a 720p TV and they're not going to be able to take advantage, so they're waiting. That group of people, I'm sure, appreciate Halo Infinite coming. They'll be able to play even though it got delayed. Or any other game they might announce and say, yep, this is on Xbox One. Like next year, let's say, trying to think of a franchise that they haven't really talked about that Microsoft has, but let's just throw it out there. Let's say Ori 3 for whatever. It's not coming out, but let's say it was a game that could have been out next year. Let's say Ori 2 came out a few years ago, and then if it come to Xbox One and Series X, the Xbox One girls would be happy. I can still buy this game. I don't have to wait. But I think the majority of people that are going to buy a next-gen system, they're going to do what we did with Breath of the Wild. They're going to buy the next-gen version, or they're going to play it on the next-gen system because they know they're going to have that system anyway, and it's like, why not, So, yeah, the whole $70 thing, you don't have Walmarts over there. I think I'm going to buy all my games now from Walmart. I went to there for the first time in the game section, probably the first time in a year or more. Every Switch game was $49.95. They didn't have any $59.95 games on the tags. So they're going to start sell games for $20 or $10 less. And then I won't have to buy any $70 games. So I don't think it's inexcusable. What were people saying when games went from 50 to 60? Were people outraged? Like, I don't remember. I just remember thinking, that sucks, but that's what they cost. That's what I got to spend them on. Nintendo went from 50 to 60. I mean, how long has it been at 60 since the 360 era? Let's see, Matthew says, I have a PS4 Slim so I can play current games on PS5 without rebuying it. I'll get it sooner rather than later. And they did confirm that Spider-Man PS4 is a free upgrade on PS5. I saw John Linneman from Digital Foundry confirm that after somebody falsely said the opposite. PS5 will not do well in Japan. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty big, so it's not as big as I thought. It's like 10 inches height. So if you turn it sideways, most entertainment stands and stuff are built around an 18-inch, 17 or 18 inches, like your shelves and stuff. That's the old standard. And T says he only bought Breath of the Wild because they removed gamepad. Yeah, if the Wii U had distinct features for the gamepad, then yeah, probably I would have bought it on Wii U. Game industry is making the highest profits, so there's no reason to pay more. Gaming highest profits. Look at all the companies that are gone now. Since the fifth gen. Just look at all the companies that are gone since the fifth gen and what the popular games are. It's hard, other than if you're not an indie and you're not a AAA team, it's really hard for these companies to make a profit. Now, Sony and Xbox first-party games, they have the power to charge $60, just like Nintendo charged $10 less for some of their first-party games versus third parties. So, and then it does suck that Sony went from remakes costing $40 to $70 for Demon Souls. Like, if you're gonna charge $70 for Ratchet and Clanks and your God of Wars and Last of Us Part 3s, don't charge $70 for a fucking remake, because you just had some good graces with me with your game prices. Miles Morales, $70. Like, you can't just throw in the original Spider-Man game and say that justifies the price. That's something Nintendo would do with the Wii U ports. And people are like, oh, well, they added this. Yeah. Does that make it worth $60 to play a $20 game? Does that make it $60 to have whatever? What am I thinking of? Tropical Freeze, Funky Kong mode, Treasure Tracker, having a few new levels. Is that worth $60? So, Miles Morales is a minimum 105 gigabyte install on PS5. That sucks because if I don't want the regular Spider-Man game, and I just wanted the Miles Morales content, but I would be forced to install the entire thing, that would suck. Because 105 gigs, it's going to eat up a lot of that 800. And I think Clacked asked this. The reason it's 800 and whatever is because the little memory blocks, if you want to call them, are a specific number for this really advanced solid state that they came up with. And it's quicker to have multiple small ones, and there's the way they're spread out, there's an even number, and it equaled 800 and whatever the total is. If they would have either had to add 2 more, which would have obviously made the system more expensive. I don't know how much more, but to add 2 more modules to make it even. So it's called like 2-channel memory. So it's like you got one on one side, one on the other, and they can draw from each other, in like parallel or whatever, however it works. So that's why it's that weird number. It's not just some block that has 800 in it. It's like 8 or 10 blocks of a certain amount of storage capability. Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Paying $70 sucks, but it's just a factor of life. Everything goes up. I remember when, gas is cheaper now. I used to fill up a 15-gallon tank or 16-gallon tank truck, gas tank in my truck for $15. Gas was 90 cents, 89 cents a gallon. And now it's $2, seems cheap. So everything goes up. Yeah, it sucks for the they didn't do the appropriate conversion. Is it pounds only? Is it the UK getting screwed or just Europe in general? Where instead of like Series X is 450, isn't it? And pounds or whatever. And then the PlayStation's $4.99 everywhere. Isn't it something like that? But I think the UK, they might have... Can't remember. But anyway, I've been on here long enough. I said it wasn't going to be 2 hours, so we're at 1 hour and 15. Let's see, they do 100-day one now for some games, selling their season pass and DLC right up front. I mean, I bought, unfortunately, Call of Duty for $100. I thought I saw one that was in the PlayStation event that was $450. Let me open it back up. I don't know what all the damn symbols mean either. So it was right after Demon Souls, right? Not right after, but it was after Demon Souls. Yeah, this one here, $449. I don't know what one that is. What's that? That one's $449. That's yen. I don't know what this one is either. Actually, I don't know what either of these. I don't know the difference between these two. But apparently this one's $600 converted. I don't know. This one's what, $550? Just get the digital edition. In the Series X. When did they announce the price? That was in a tweet, wasn't it? Let's search. Let's see if we can find the Series S. Where they tweeted it. I ain't gonna find it. I think Phil Spencer. Alright, euros. So it's 500 euros and 450 pounds. So what's the pounds to dollars? So let me put in 450. That's 580. So what's the Switch in pounds? While you guys are here, what's the Switch? And what's euros? Where's euros used? Where's pounds used? So I thought the Switch was 250 pounds, which makes it 320. And if the PlayStation 4 is 450, that's 580. And then 350 for the digital is 450. But that's just everything. Like, what's your game prices over there? Quickly, somebody in the chat. The Switch is $279. So it's $360. I don't understand. It's $300 in the US, so you're getting screwed automatically. You're already getting screwed. It's the same percentage of getting screwed, isn't it? Is any company giving you proper pricing? What are games, 45 or 50? So if the Switch is $279, that's $360. That's $60 more. It's the same percentage as the PS4 being $450. It's more total dollar, but I bet it's the same percentage. So 450 divided by 581, that's 77%. And 279 divided by 360, 76. It's the same percentage. It's just a bigger dollar value. So yeah, I think that might be a case of double standard there, if the Switch has been like that. Is there some kind of import tax? I mean, like I just said, it's the same, whether it's the Switch or the PlayStation 5, it's the same percentage difference. I don't know about the Euro situation. I'm not sure what's euros. So what's 4.99 euros? That's 5.90. I mean, it's just the convert. I'm sorry, it's just the price of the conversion. I mean, yeah, they could charge for 400 euros or 420, but Nintendo would that mean Nintendo would have to charge what, 220, 240, 250. Well, in euros, it's a different conversion. But I think the Switch in euros is probably $299, isn't it? Let's go back. So the Switch would have to be 230 to be equal. So if the Switch is 230, then I think you have some ground to stand on. If the Switch is truly 279, then you're getting the same amount of screwed. That's just the way it is, guys. It sucks for you. You can ask all these companies why. But there is probably some, there could be taxes, there could be tariffs. I don't know all that shit. And that's the way it is, but it's nothing new. So I got to call you out. If you're giving Sony shit about it, and you should be giving Nintendo shit about it too, because it's the same percentage of difference. I mean, it's just the exchange rate. You just repeat myself, but you'd have to just be mad at all of them for not doing it. Maybe some of these companies do it. What's a TV? What's a TV price? Let me just look up Amazon UK real quick. Let's look up a LG OLED CX 65 inch. $24.99 in pounds. So we'll go pounds to dollars again. So $24.99. Okay. Let's go Amazon US. LG OLED CX 65. $22.96. Whoops. So that would be 2,900 pounds. And what did I say it was? $24.99. Oh wait, sorry. $24.99. I put it in the wrong spot. $24.99. So you're getting a better deal on a TV. So that's nice for you guys. Not much. It's pretty close, a couple $100, but yeah. So sucks. Just like in Canada, I think Canadians got it worse than you guys. So, but anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in on a Saturday. And next Wednesday, Rocket League's going free to play. I'd probably give it a day. If you haven't played that game, check it out. Free to play on Switch with no Nintendo Online membership. Free to play on PlayStation with no online membership. I'm guessing Xbox is the same. Download it, check it out, and yeah, you guys get a lot of better collections. Except for the Ori one. I don't know if that's both regions. That's a sweet set. I'm not paying $150 for 2 games. As good as they are. It's a cool looking set though. If it was like $100, I might try to get it. I don't know. If that was like physical Xbox or PS4, it'd have a little more value to me. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.